Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Paterson Board of Adjustment special meeting of September 30th, 2021. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Of the open public meeting law has been satisfied with respect to this meeting, specifying the time, date, and location, including the annual notice adopted at the reorganization meeting of the board, filed with the clerk of the city of Paterson, posted in City Hall, and mailed to at least 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law. I'm going to call roll. Commissioner Furman.
Present.
Commissioner Watkins.
Present.
Commissioner Rohim.
Present.
Commissioner Vega.
Present.
Commissioner Dumas. Absent. Commissioner Minato. Absent. Commissioner Barat.
Present.
Commissioner Arenas.
Present.
Chairman Thaxton. The first matter on the agenda is 305-319 Pennsylvania Avenue, 319 Penn Development. Is the applicant present and ready?
Good evening, Council and Mr. Chairman, Alan Mariconda. I'll be deferring this matter to Mr. Michael Rubin, who will be assuming the handling of this matter. I have a conflict which arose due to one of the objectors being a longtime client of my office.
Good evening, Mr. Rubin.
Good evening once again. For the record, I am Michael Rubin with offices at 1330 Hamburg Turnpike, Wayne, New Jersey, and we are representing 319 Penn Development LLC in these land use proceedings.
Okay.
I do understand that there's been some correspondence and telephone conversations and such, and I guess council has some recommendations as to where we're going.
Yes. Before we proceed, please let the record reflect that Commissioner Minato is now present. She walked in just at the beginning. Yes, Council. So there's 2 issues. First issue is that our planner hadn't had an opportunity to go through the full extent of the application, which, as you know, is extensive, and he's not prepared. He also has some comments and concerns that he would like addressed. Putting that aside, I'm assuming you received the objection letter from the objector's attorney?
It was just shown to me just now. I haven't really read it.
Do you want a moment to go through it?
No, I understand there's objections as to publication. That's, so I'll let the board resolve that.
Yeah, so, well, listen, in essence, we were going to have to carry it anyway because the planner wasn't prepared, because and there's issues that are not prepared. Having said that, though, with the issue with notice, you'll have to renotice again unless you dispute that there's an issue.
I don't know the answer. It might be easiest to just renotice. For the size of this application, which is significant, it might be just easier to just do everything from scratch.
I don't disagree. And from reviewing the submissions from council, I think they're correct, that there is an issue with notice. So we're going to carry this matter without date. You'll get a date. You'll have to renotice. I see a lot of people in the audience. Are you here on this application? All right. So pretty much everybody's shaking their head yes. So for your benefit, so you understand what's going on, this matter is not going to be heard this evening for 2 reasons. One, there's an issue with regard to technical notice in terms of time limits. They had to be done within 10 days. It was more 9 days. Not a big issue. But in addition, there's some additional work our planner needs to do. So you're not going to get a new date this evening. You will get notice again for this matter. So if you received a letter, you're going to receive a letter again. There'll be, and then a new date will be given, okay? But you're welcome to stay for a moment. Before we close this matter, our planner has had an opportunity to go through the plans to a certain degree and has some concerns and would like certain things addressed prior to the next meeting. So in an effort to expedite the process, you'd like to take a few moments to talk to your experts. Do you have your experts here?
Yes.
Yes, okay, Mr. Rubin.
Yes, Gary.
In reviewing the plan, which I received Tuesday afternoon, okay, so
You're better than I did.
I tried to get it ready for tonight, but without knowing about notice, and there were too many inconsistencies. So if your professionals are here, there's a few things. One, the letter of intent and the site plan cite 239 parking spaces. Your architect's plan cites 282 parking spaces. So you have a difference there. You also have a
So
difference.
they're inconsistent numbers.
Yes.
On that.
You also have an inconsistency where your architect proposes 4 retail spaces and your site plan proposes 2. So your architect and your engineer need to get together to make sure there's one plan, because otherwise it's going to be marked incomplete. Number 3, neither plan has any dimensions of the building. Now, your architect puts the square footage of each unit, but there aren't any numbers for me to check that. Also, I need numbers on the building so I can check floor area ratio. I could also check open space requirement and the amenities square footage. So your architect or your engineer, somebody needs to put dimensions on their plan. So I can check these numbers.
It
and-
would seem for the building, that would be the architect.
Yeah, it would probably be easier if the architect did it, but he has to do all his numbers. And based on the code, it's from the outside walls coming in.
For the FAR.
Yes, FAR, open space requirement, the amenities, square footage. So, also, I need a survey. The engineer who did the site plan is not a licensed surveyor, and rules and regulations,
But I saw a survey.
I didn't get one. So if there is one, it has to be provided.
I believe there is one.
Okay. Additionally, the site plan makes reference to the bulk requirements in the MU zone. The MU zone does not allow residential. So, according to New Jersey case law and municipal land use law, your use requirement and your bulk requirements should be subsumed in the same application.
Yes.
So, in order for if this board is going to accept the use, your engineer needs to cite the bulk requirements for low-rise apartments. So, he only has the bulk requirements for the MU zone, which are incorrect. Well, they are correct for the MU zone, but we don't need them. He wants to keep them, that's fine, but he needs to put the low-rise bulk requirements on his plan and cite those variances of being
All right,
requested.
it is I would imagine a D1 application.
It is a D1, yes.
Yeah.
There are several D variances, I think.
Yeah.
Okay? But he needs to put those bulk requirements for the correct zone that you're requesting. And I also had a chance to look at the architect's plan, and I made some comments, and I'm not sure if it was addressed, because I think there's another plan, but I didn't get it. You have, you're proposing a 5-story building, but all the tenants have to go, and some of these units are 3-bedroom and 2-bedroom. So
Yes.
all your tenants need to take their garbage to the elevator, down 5 flights, and then go to the dumpster area, which is in the parking garage someplace, which is really not a good concept. There should have been a garbage chute proposed, and this collected either with a compactor or in a dumpster area. It doesn't make sense for the tenants to walk 100 feet to the elevator, go down 4 or 5 flights, then walk through the parking garage to get their garbage out, and that could be done 2 and 3 times a day.
Well, I have the architect here this evening who was listening to
Yes.
these comments, and I'm sure they could reconfigure that
Okay,
issue.
yes, okay. And those were the issues I saw, just looking at it
Initially.
briefly. So
Right.
the main thing is, though, Mr. Rubin, make sure your engineer and your architect are on the same page.
Right.
They have to be consistent with one another, because I can't make two reports and say pick one,
No,
okay?
I fully understand.
Okay.
And it is a fairly substantial application, so you do need all of the data.
Okay?
And
That
we-
was all I had.
Right, I haven't had a chance to look at counsel for our interested party who might have other issues, and we'll have to work through them. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but we will. Shirley?
Good evening, Gregory Asadorian from the law firm of Kaufman, Serrano, and Liebman. On behalf of the objector, MAZ Distribution LLC, I just want to enter my appearance on the record. Also reiterate that our firm submitted a letter to the board today which lists a various number of objections that we have. One which was noticed, which it seems that the applicant has agreed to not proceed today and to renotice and republish. There's also a couple other items which were listed in our letter. What I am requesting at this time is if the applicant makes any further submissions, if we could be provided with a copy.
So, counsel, I mean, I am aware of your notice of appearance. What I would ask is, I mean, as attorneys and professionals, that you guys work together. I mean, I'm sure Mr. Rubin will send you any modifications to keep you apprised.
Not a problem, now that we know who's involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would just reach out to him. And also, I know that there was an
Yeah.
issue we discussed about the actual application and the file. I would take the opportunity to speak to Mr. Rubin this evening. And again, he just got into the case, so he probably doesn't know the answers, but you could work through it with him as well.
Yes, agreed. And I realize Mr. Rubin just got into the case, and he needs to get probably put up to speed as well. And I will gladly work with Mr. Rubin on that.
Yeah, because I mean, to a degree, you're both are very capable attorneys, especially in this area of law. You guys could work together, work through these issues. I don't envision any issues.
And also, sir, I got your letter of appearance, so I will CC you on the report as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. Then, after we, I guess in due course, we'll be advised as to what dates are available. I'm not too sure what's happening on the secretarial end of things for new dates. I guess that's kind of in flux at the moment, so I don't know how that's working out as far as future dates. So you'll just have to let us know.
We'll talk next week.
Good.
We'll figure something out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Mr. Rubin, we also need another letter of intent, since the first one is incorrect.
An updated letter of intent.
Thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, so again, this matter is not going to be heard. It's being carried without a new date. You'll receive notice of a date, the same way you received notice of this evening's date. All right. You're free to stay for the next application or whatever you want to do. But have a nice evening, everybody. Second matter on the agenda. Was it even open as a meeting? I don't know. Oh, then that's fine. They didn't do two separate things.
They don't do two separate times like Maggie does. They just said the 7th.
That's fine. However you guys.
Meeting's adjourned.
Yeah, it's gonna be quick.
Better suntan.
All right.
Yeah, you tucked it away good there. Where did the plant say?
You ready? No. 925 East 27th Street. Is the applicant present and ready to proceed?
Applicant is present. Alan Maricondo on behalf of the applicant.
You can proceed, right? You can proceed, counsel.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Yes, on behalf of Abdul Hamdan Al Maricondo, my office is located at 726 Market Street. This is an application whereby we're seeking site plan use and bulk variance with regard to the development in this matter. The applicant's proposing to construct a new three-story, two-family dwelling on an existing lot. I'm going to defer to Mr. Evans at this time as architect planner.
Yes, I do. Matthew Evans, architect planner, 470 Chamberlain Ave, Paterson, New Jersey.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Evans will be qualified. Thank you very much. Mr. Evans, you had an opportunity to prepare the site plan in question in this matter.
Yes.
Could you give us an overview of the existing conditions and what the applicant proposes?
Okay, basically the lot is a 25 by 100 lot. It's vacant, it's an infill lot, and we are proposing to put a two-family house on that, a typical two-family that we've proposed in the past on similar lots. The address is 925 East 27th Street. It's 50 feet off of 21st Avenue, and we would be proposing that it's in the B1 zone. We're looking for use variance, bulk variances for lot size, lot width, front yard and side yard setbacks, along with lot coverage and parking. I'll go through the plan. We have a three-story, two-family house. The property has a two-car garage internally on the first floor. We also have unfinished storage space with a powder room in the rear. We have a laundry room and mechanical room. On the second floor, Unit A, we have 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a kitchen and a large open living kitchen space in the entry of the ground floor unit. The combined space, that's connected directly to the lower level, so the only way to access the lower level is through the tenant space. That comes to 1,829 square feet in total, so that meets the minimum requirement of 1,100 square feet for a 3-bedroom. And also, the third floor plan is similar to the second floor with 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, same configuration, with a little difference. When you come up the stairs, it's open stair to the living area. So that is 1,288, almost 1,300 square feet, so that meets the minimum requirement of 1,100 square feet minimum. The sheet A3 are the elevations. We have the front elevation, so we have a double gable entry design with a stair that's an L-shaped stair entering the first level. We have a 2-car garage, and then we have a bay window in the front, and we mix the materials of stone, brick, and siding and stucco to give it more of an aesthetic street appeal. And the right side elevation would be siding, and also the left side elevation similar to the right, and the rear would be also siding, more subdued architectural character on the sides and the rear. So that would be the building as proposed, along with the variances requested.
And the parking that we do provide is in the front setback or to the side of the building?
Yes, it's just internal. It's based on being a 25-foot width. It's difficult to provide any other kind of parking than stacked parking, so we have the maximum permitted stacked parking, which is 2 spaces in the garage.
So legally, then, we have 2 spaces that are permitted,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So there is 2 spaces of the 4 required.
Yes.
Okay. And this lot is fairly typical of the streetscape on East 27th Street?
Yes, there's many different size lots. This is sort of the last developable lot, I believe, in the area, and that would basically complete the infill of the block.
And so a 2-family on this size parcel is fairly comparable to the surrounding area?
Yes, the area is historically R2, so this use would not negatively impact the surrounding neighborhood.
And the design of each unit, you said, has sufficient square footage for each apartment size?
Yes.
So there are no variances in terms of your interior design?
Right, and just to reiterate a little bit on that ground floor level, that's only accessible from the first floor apartment, so that's giving it extra space, extra storage, and usability, and that would be the extent of the usability of that lower level.
And in your estimation, the bulk setback requirements for front and side and lot coverage, which are set forth in Mr. Paparazzi's report, do you see any negative impact on surrounding property owners at all?
No, this house is typical with many that we've submitted to the boards and have been approved, and other architects and planners have submitted and been approved, so it's consistent with many of the homes in the city of Paterson.
And again, you referred to briefly the fact that this is a vacant parcel, which is, we call an infill lot. Is that one of the goals of the zoning ordinance and the master plan, to resolve those issues?
Yes, to move vacant and abandoned type properties and create new structures to fill in those voids.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Paparazzi.
Gary.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Just a few housekeeping things first, and then we'll go through the variances, Mr. Your side setback, the minimum requirement you have is 4, it should be 3. I think you put 3 in parentheses, I'm not sure if that's what you meant. The side setback for both is 11, not 10. The parking requirement for 3-bedroom is 2.0, as per RSIS, so it's 4, not 4.2. And there is no open space requirement unless you're a multifamily.
Right.
So multifamily, open space is not a variance.
Right.
Additionally, what you always have done, Mr. Evans, is on the 3rd floor, you would show an access to the attic, a pull-down,
Okay.
just to verify that there is no other access to the attic area. And the variances I have for the commissioners is the use because of the zone. The front setback requirement, we're using R2 requirements. The front setback requirement is 25 feet, 10 feet is proposed. The side setback for both is 11 feet and 6.2 feet is proposed. The maximum lot coverage is 40% and 49% is proposed. And the parking requirement for the 2-family is 4 cars and 2 cars are proposed. But just a point, as far as the use variance is concerned, one, Mr. Evans alluded to the fact that this used to be an R2 zone. And 2, the neighborhood is all residential. So take that into consideration when you vote for the use variance. That's all I have for Mr. Evans, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Any commissioners have questions of the architect?
Yes, Commissioner Vega, sir, how are you? I wanted to ask about the basement bathroom. So you're saying that the first floor is part of the, part of that?
Yeah, so. the
That's going to be
ground
used
is
for the first floor tenants?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, give me 1 second, sorry.
And that would be a half bath we're proposing.
Half bath. And then Gary, this is for you. I mean, regarding the setbacks, I mean, is that a major problem for this property?
Well, two things, Commissioner. One, this lot is already existing, so it's not that they're creating a 25-foot lot. And two, they're not building on the property line, so the minimum requirement is 3 feet on sides, and they're holding the 3 feet. The rear is 20 feet, they're holding 25, and the front setback, although it's 10 feet only, it almost coincides with the rest of the block, so it's not built on the property line like we have been seeing. So, and you also have to remember, he's only building an 18-foot, 10-foot house. You know, realistically, you can't get too much smaller, you know, without
Yes.
it being really hard to live in.
I agree. And then the only thing is the chute for, or the garbage area, that's under the stairs for the entrance of the building?
Yes, so it's a masonry stair. What they do is they build it all out of block, and then they put a lintel in, and they have a door, and they store the cans under there typically.
Good. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Watkins, hello. How you doing, Ms. Evans?
Hi.
I just have a question. If 4 parking spaces were required, why did you only provide 2?
Because there's a limit of, I mean, you could probably put more. They wouldn't meet the requirements of the ordinance, so they wouldn't be considered legal spots, and they also might become a little bit not as safe to have as to have the 2 parking spaces that we've historically proposed in the past. So this has worked in previous applications, and felt that this was a good solution for what we we were tackling, you know.
I asked that question simply because, I mean, I know the neighborhood, of course. You know, it's just that every time applications come before us, they're always giving what they propose versus what's required. You know, so I just believe it's a question that we all need to hear the answer to. Thank you.
Yes, and what we do is we're providing off-street parking, and a lot of these homes, you know, are older homes, were built many years ago and do not have parking, so we're trying to relieve that stress by having off-street parking as much as we can on the property.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner? Okay, Mr. Maricondo.
Thank you,
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair. I'll just confirm, have the applicant step briefly up to ratify the testimony.
Good evening. Sure. I do. No, you're good. Abdul Hamdan, Hamdan.
Mr. Hampton, you are the principal and owner of the applicant, is that correct?
I am.
And you've had an opportunity to hear Mr. Evans' testimony on your behalf,
I did.
and I assume you're in full agreement with that testimony?
I am.
And this is not the first house that you developed in the city of Paterson, is it correct?
That is correct.
And this would be rental units, I assume?
That is correct.
Okay. And your intention would be to provide a 2-family house where a vacant lot exists?
That is accurate, yes.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I have no questions for the applicant.
Any commissioners?
Well, my question was basically, you know, if you're going to live there, but I guess you answered that. So
Yes,
you're not.
thank you.
Are you a Paterson, you know, from Paterson?
I'm a Patersonian, for sure. I was born and raised in the city of Paterson. I graduated Eastside High School. My office is in Paterson. Yes, we're fellow ghosts. My brothers graduated Kennedy, but I graduated Eastside. But yes.
I went to Tech, sorry.
My son and daughter are both in tech, so.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I am a Patersonian.
Thank you. I just wanted to.
Thank you for asking.
Commissioner Furman, Mr. Chairman, I do have a question. May I please proceed? Thank you.
How are you, Commissioner?
Very good, thanks. Yourself?
Very good, thank you.
Do you reside in Paterson,
Currently, no, I reside in Clifton.
in Clifton?
Yeah, a few blocks in.
Do you own more property here in
The
city of Paterson?
I do.
If you don't mind, can you please mention at least one of the location of your property?
Sure. I own a building on the corner of Main and Buffalo. It's where I have my office, and there's 15 apartments and a retail store there as well. I own a few homes as well on Crooks Avenue. I guess if you need more, I could definitely.
Mr. Hampton's been before the board.
One is good enough.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
He's been before this board and the planning board on other successful developments over the years.
Thank you.
Just it's more a little bit of a suggestion than a question.
Absolutely.
Do you understand that parking is becoming a big issue in our city of Paterson?
I do understand. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks for mentioning it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You're good.
Thank you.
I'll just be brief, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. We believe this is a positive application for the city in terms of developing an infill lot. The variances are relatively minimal. It's a good opportunity to provide needed housing in accordance with the goals of the master plan. This design of Mr. Evans has worked successfully on lots that are 25 by 100 feet in the past. We feel very confident that if the board grants this approval, the results will be the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioners, there's two things. One, the entire neighborhood is residential. And two, the lot is already existing. He's not creating a 25-foot lot with a subdivision. This lot is already existing. So unfortunately, because the lot is only 25 feet, you cannot put 4 cars on the lot, because if they're tandem, if you put 4 cars tandem, obviously, when one family wants to leave, you can't have 3 other cars move. So the maximum you could actually put on a 25-foot lot with a building is two cars. So in this case, I think the positive criteria outweighs the negative, because this is an empty lot. It does conform to the master plan by developing the undeveloped lots. If the board should approve the application, just Mr. Evans has a few zoning chart corrections, and I want to see on the 3rd floor, the pull-down access to the attic, which ensures that like a fire escape won't go in the back, so that they add bedrooms upstairs in the attic and so forth. So the pull-down should be shown, and a few corrections on the zoning chart if the board should approve the application. But again, I think the positive criteria outweighs the negative. Thank you.
Okay, at this point, can we have a motion?
Commissioner Furman, I would like to make the first motion.
I second that.
Who's the second? I'm sorry.
And for the record, I would like to make a comment. Mr. Chairman, thank you. Thanks for investing in our city of Paterson. And I think it's a great application.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate your comment.
All right, commissioners.
Commissioner, would that be with my, okay.
Yes, understanding that my vote is based on the comments that were made by our planner.
Just to have Mr. Evans revise the issues that I alluded to. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Planner.
All right, commissioners. With regard to the motion to approve, Commissioner Brock.
I approved with the word of advice to the developer that in the next project, please try to make sure that the parking space coincides with the requirement. That's all I have to say. I approve.
Commissioner Furman.
Yes.
Commissioner Minato.
Just a quick statement before. Thank you so much for everything that you decided to invest back into the city. I'm going to vote no, but it's not because it's anything against you. It's just that I'm very familiar with that area. I know how much the parking is a problem there. You have 2 businesses there that are always it always causes congestion on that street, which is the laundromat and the bakery that's right there on the corner. So I do think it might be a good project. However, I just have to vote no in favor of my better judgment. Thank you.
Commissioner Roheen,
Yes.
Commissioner Vega,
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins,
Yes.
Chairman Thaxton.
Yes.
6-1, you're approved. Thank you.
Any resolution?
Except you made the motion. At that point, if there's two alternates, just a definite. Nobody.
Okay, meeting's adjourned.
Enjoy your weekend, everyone.
Now, Chairman, you're going to let us know if there is something supposedly a special for,
Why don't we wait till we're off, for sure?
what?
Wait till we're off.